let's talk a little hockey. You talk about Marchand. Obviously, they get a new coach, Coach Sacco, who was actually Connor's Little League coach, I think.
Yeah, back in Winchester, Sacco. I played with his son. We kind of go all the way back. I believe there's a chance I might get a shot, maybe a 10-day, two-way contract with the Bees. But how about the Bruins? Obviously, last night they get absolutely dismantled, so it's a bad time to bring up the Bruins. But do you like the Sacco move? And they have played much better. Do you think this is kind of where the season turns for the Bruins?
And who is the team that we need to be watching if it isn't the Boston Bruins?
Yeah, I mean, do I like the move? I really liked Monty. I just say it wasn't even that bad. They were just one game below 500. I think that they had way bigger issues, and the management will go back to saying that they didn't really have a good training camp, and maybe there was a lack of response, and Monty's message had kind of fallen on deaf ears. What I don't know, but that. The thing is Sacco's definitely a lot more defensive minded. He's trying to get them back to their structure and improving in a lot of areas they've been horrible at. Like one of the most penalized teams in the league, one of the worst offensive teams. Their power play was, at least going back to last week, was 31st in the league. So normally this is a team that has a great culture, great special teams, great foundational defensively, and great goaltending, and they just really got away from that. So they've had an improvement in their record since Sacco has taken over. Mind you, the teams they've played against haven't been necessarily the highest of caliber. As you see last night, they finally play a top team in the league and they get waxed.
Wow.
So I think in that stretch of games where they went on like a 6-2, 7-2 run, they'd only played 2 playoff teams. So do I think it was the right move? Not necessarily in the long run, but maybe in the short time to get the spark for the guys. It's just kind of, he's collateral damage. And also, let's not forget, Monty was offered, from my understanding, a 3-year deal at close to $10 million that he turned down, knowing that he's a top coach in the league and probably knowing that St. Louis or other teams were prepared to give him a big deal. And my understanding, it was a 5 years times $5 million that he got from St. Louis, like within a week. So, Right move for him and his family. He's got ties to St. Louis, and he's off to bigger and better pastures. And Boston, at least they hit the reset button.
About bigger and better.
Bruins can't afford their coach.
No, we can afford it.
They're cheap.
I mean, what?
Whoa,
they're cheap.
Really?
Whoa. Bruins are notoriously cheap. Their hand has been forced, considering the trend in the league is you just have to pay your superstar players, but it wasn't necessarily a common theme. Now, they did have guys like Patrice Bergeron and Brad Marchand who were also willing to buy in to the hard cap and take team-friendly deals, but when McAvoy, Pasternak, and now obviously Swayman, when those types of deals have come up, they're not going to get the deals anymore. So they can't be cheap, but where they can try to be cheap is with their head coach. And they tried to be cheap with Swayman, and we all saw how that all went down. That was a bit of a debacle, which created, in my opinion, horrendous juju in the locker room, and that was a reason for part of their slow start.
Yeah. I didn't like that was happening with Sway. He's good on our show.
Yeah, that was bullshit. He's great for the city. He's an American man as well from Alaska, but what Biz is kind of dancing around is that a lot of people, at least right now in Boston, have a problem with that front office and Sweeney.
Oh, really?
Yeah, at the current moment in time.
They don't love what they're doing.
Especially because of what happened with Monty.
Okay. Oh, you guys turning on the Bruins?
We're not turning on the Bees.
Boston Connor, I don't know if you'd heard this as well. Like, they basically told Sacco, be prepared to take over the team partway through the year if things don't necessarily get off to a hot start. Montgomery has the best winning percentage the last prior 2 seasons. They won a President's Trophy, then they lost their 2 best centermen in Krejci and Bergeron, and then they still finished with well over 100 points. And I want to say that his winning percentage is like 700 as a coach over those 2 years. And then all of a sudden you have a little bit of a slow start. You're 1 game below 500 after you just fumbled your goalie situation by dealing Allmark too soon and then messing around with Swayman, and then you make the signings that you did and bringing in Zadorov and Lindholm and maybe weren't working out at the beginning, and then you're kind of throwing your coach under the bus. Have you ever seen Shoresy, the show Shoresy?
I've seen clips, have not seen full episodes.
Yeah, well, Jon Nasty Mirasty was one of the toughest guys ever play in the minors, and he's in that show as one of the characters. So I'm sure people listen who watch Letterkenny or Shoresy will know the reference to Jon Nasty Mirasty.
And Mr. Nasty Mirasty, thank you for your service.
Legend.
Thank you, Nasty.
We love that. Anybody that put their face on the line for sport, holy
Look at
shit.
it.
Yeah, I've seen this photo before. I've seen Nasty Mirasty before.
Tito Ortiz.
Holy hell.
Hey, if you want some, you guys do how you love hockey clips.
Yeah.
Pull up him and Bossy in the Quebec Fighting League. I want to say they fought 10 times, and they would go old school toe to toe where they would punch each other in the head like 20 times. Mirasty, I think, got knocked out like 4 of the 10 times, like out cold on the ice. But every single game they would play, they would go toe to toe at center ice. So pull up him and Bossy's fights if you can to get the crowd going.
I don't want to get into a full hockey was better when that was happening type thing, but that was certainly like a part of the show. Like having a big dog who was there to protect Star, and also if we get down by 2 or lose momentum, somebody go out there and fight and do this thing. That was more so a part of the show back in the day. Now they're still fighting, but none of them like staged. Holy shit.
No, these guys are just mutants,
Holy
dude. These guys are okay.
You
So
fought this guy?
Mirasty clips Bossy there. Wow. So I think
You fought these guys?
There's a full collage on YouTube where I think it's probably about 4 or 5 minutes long, maybe longer, where these guys are doing this every single game. Like, look at these guys. This is not how I fought. I protected my face a little bit.
Jeez.
A little bit.
If I'm marketing that minor league game, I think you're marketing Mirasty and Boss.
No doubt.
Have round 9 tonight, and then there's also a hockey game happening. That used to be awesome to watch. Now, let's get back to modern hockey.
Yeah.
The reigning, defending, undisputed, shout out to Paul Heyman, Lordo Stanley Cup champions.
Yeah.
D-Bud has a question for you.
Absolutely. Biz, the boys here, Nick, Gump, they always tell me how tough it is to make 3 back-to-back-to-back Stanley Cup runs. But look like the Panthers are kind of avoiding that hangover. Rhino, Barkey, Chucky, and all the boys are buzzing right now. What are the chances that my Panthers can run it back?
If there was a team that I would bet on who could get back to the finals, I would say that they could do it because they have such strong goaltending. Their core group of guys is large, and they're just used to being there, and they're so reliable. What they do a good job of, Zito and staff, is they're able to replenish the areas with the money they have left over and address the needs where a lot of these guys who ended up winning with them, who became free agents, they're going to go get more money elsewhere just based on their production. Like Oliver Ekman-Larsson was a great defenseman that went there, who was on making like $1.5 million and was playing like a $4 or $5 million defenseman. Well, he's off to Toronto. So they go find the next best thing to plug in. So based on the coaching staff, that core group of guys and how many weapons they have and that culture in the locker room, I would say that I wouldn't count them out. If you get back to three Stanley Cup finals back to back years, like in this modern era, that is something to be celebrated. That is such a difficult achievement, especially with the grind of the 82 game schedule, but just what the 7-game series entail in the Stanley Cup playoffs and how draining they are physically and mentally. It would just be a testament to that organization and those guys in the locker room. But they're off to a fairly good start this year. They started out really hot and then they tailed off a little bit, but you have to imagine at some point they were probably a little bit exhausted coming down off that high.
Yeah, because they were just boozing down there at the elbow room every damn day. Watching that thing get thrown into the ocean, have a blast. It became hockey town down there.
Yeah.
They became a hockey town down there. Hopefully it'll continue. Hopefully the game continues to grow, and you're only helping that, Biz. You're the man. That show on TNT, fantastic. I think the vibes are great. I think your relationship with the league is one that they need to make sure they cherish and hold on to. You're great for the sport. You're great for us. We appreciate the hell out of you.
Hey, thank you guys so much. Right back at you guys. You guys are crushing it. And, we got a great team at TNT, and the league's been thriving and very receptive to, hockey's a very team-oriented sport where individuals don't stand out, but the ownership and everybody understands that there is an entertainment value, and, getting guys on and doing the things that Marchand did and silly stuff like that is only going to grow the sport. But like I said, the hockey community and Gary Bettman and the rest of the crew have been very receptive to that. So I appreciate the compliment, and we're just trying to grow this thing. Hockey's an amazing sport, and the states is starting to realize that more and more. And Four Nations coming up, you guys got a wagon of a squad.
Oh yeah,
yeah,
oh yeah,
oh yeah.
USA's It's our sport.
Yeah, we're bringing the hammer down.
Yeah, it's our sport.
Nah, I wouldn't go that far.
It's our sport.
If Canada becomes a state, then all of it's our sport. Is that how
when it does?
One last shout out to Spit and Chicklets, by the way, because obviously the TNT thing does great work for the NHL. What you guys have done digitally is captivate a lot of people because you're able to get the most out of these players. We haven't heard a lot from any of these guys over the years. You guys help out so much. Thank you for everything, Biz. You're the man.
There's no TNT for me if there's no Rear Admiral, RA, Ryan Whitney, Mike Grinnell, Elliot Fish, Pasha Eshke, Dale Morningstar memes. It all started here, boys. And like you guys, mom and pop, started to grow it, and look where you guys are now. So thank you guys so much. Love coming on with you guys and continue to grow the game as well. Thank you guys so much.
Ladies and gentlemen.